Happy Monday, Daily Dosers. Man, I am so glad that you are joining us once again today. Chris here, and we are going to go back and touch on something we did on this weekend's message. Look, if you're not following our weekend messages and just doing daily doses, that's quite okay. They're free. Hope you're enjoying them. But man, we are in this series of David right now and uncovering the real truth, not just the stories Sunday school are allowed to tell. But man, it has been so good. I hope you are enjoying it as much as I am. I tried to get everything I could into a message and keep it somewhat shorter, and I still went 50 minutes this week. And there's so much that hit the cutting room floor. And one of those pieces was really wrestling with how do you and I see our lives? And even that pronoun right there kind of gives it away. We talked about King Saul and David and the way they both saw the kingdom, where King Saul said, I got to defend my throne. I mean, what else does David want but the crown? And he has hatred and jealousy towards David because God was with David and not with King Saul. We saw David's response this weekend where he kept saying, who am I? I'm just a shepherd. I'm just number 8 from a farmer's family. I have no right to marry in the king's family. And he took all this national fame and success that was happening, and he kept such an amazing, solid mindset on God in the midst of success. And I talked this weekend about success is harder to handle than failure. Now, don't get me wrong. I would much rather pray for success than failure. It's easier in life to go through success, but spiritually speaking, failure is easier to handle spiritually. It keeps me dependent on God. I'm praying on God. I'm looking for God. I'm leaning into God. I'm reminding of how puny I am, how worthless I am, how helpless I am. Success reminds me of how awesome I am. That's what success does, how awesome I am. And this week in our life groups, we've got a homework question that comes from Matthew chapter 25. And I'm going to give you the answers to life groups. So read this, write it with me. Now you're going to get one of the questions right at least. And it's a parable of the talents. And Jesus has been asked, what is the kingdom of heaven like? And he goes, let me tell you a story. In Matthew 25:14, it will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted his property to them. To one he gave 5 talents of money, to another 2 talents, and to another 1 talent, each according to their ability. Then he went on a journey, and the man who received the 5 talents went at once and put his money to work, and the other one, and the other one, and the other one, and the other one, and you know this story. After a long time, the man comes back and says, show me what you've made out of what I have given you. But that's what he said at the beginning. I'm going to entrust you with my property, my stuff. When I return, I want to see what you've made for me. I tell you, as much as I struggle, and partly it's due because of the size of our church, large church I've worked in the past, the platform we're on, I get to be a speaking voice in this, and so it's my face that gets seen and shown, or my voice that gets heard. Man, the pride and arrogance and ego that's wrapped up in this job. And one of the things that has helped ground me so much in life, and a principle for you and I learned about our pride and ego, how do we see life as God's, and we just are fortunate to play a role, is this passage. Jesus goes, let me tell you, this is the kingdom of God. Understanding that each one of us have been gifted different things according to our purpose. Yes, some people have been given more than me and we're born into a greater family of riches or wealth, whatever. Other people have less. And he goes, don't worry about it. God has a plan. God has given each of us exactly what we need to manage this life on his behalf. So when the owner comes back, he will say, Chris, what did you do with my property that I entrusted to you? It is simple. It's a simple parable, but it is absolutely genius and will help you and I to change the pronouns of our life. I don't care if you're the entrepreneur. I don't care if you're the founder. I don't care if you're the president, the CEO, or the CFO. I don't care if you're just a stay-at-home parent. You're going to have the opportunity to see, these are my kids. This is my life. This is my value. I don't care if you're a single person right now just going through school and you're barely able to pay for junior college every semester. Every one of us is prone to see this as ours, mine. And the harder you work at something and the more you've invested in something and the more success that comes with it, the more it becomes you. Mine. I've earned it. I've deserved it. I've applied myself. I've worked hard to get here. And the more we can weekly grab onto the parable and realize, God, you've given me everything. You allowed me to be born in a nation like this where I could get an education. You give me the gifts and the talents I have. Oh, I applaud your faithfulness. I applaud that you put it to work. I applaud that you're using it. Good for you. You were supposed to. You were supposed to faithfully manage the life God has loaned to you. So one day when he comes back, he goes, what did you do on my behalf for my kingdom? There's always the sad character in the story that took his talent and buried it because he didn't want to lose it. But more importantly, I think that picture is he took what God gave him and he simply used it here on earth. He simply put it in the earth and had nothing spiritual to show for it. And God comes back and goes, what did you do with the company I let you run? What did you do with the finances I allowed you to have? What did you do with the son or daughter I gave you? What did you do with the kids I allowed you to have? And I don't want to be standing on that day going, well, I spent it all on earth. I used it all for my kingdom. Understanding the truth of this will set us free from the pronouns of I, my, mine, and set me free to yours, his. And God, allow me to manage your kingdom today. We'll see you tomorrow, guys.